back there and letting the sun in. I love to have as much light in the room as possible. We've been kind of in a quiet mood. Doesn't it feel that way today? Yeah. So, we just turn up the energy a little bit. I'm glad I actually changed the subject of my talk. Being Memorial Day weekend, I was going to come and talk to you about death today. But I'm really glad I had a change in direction. I'm going to be talking to you about changes in direction, the journey within the journey. I've been going through a number of things in my personal life in the last 3 weeks, some of which I'll be sharing with you today. And one of the things that I do when I'm under stress and emotionally challenged and all sorts of things is increase my prayer life, my meditation, and that certainly has happened with teaching meditation practices. I've increased my practice myself, as well as spending a lot of time. For me personally, I like to read the Bible. I get inspired by the Bible. And a story really jumped out to me and helped me maneuver through what I've been going through. So I want to share some of that with you this morning. But to start, I want to ask you, have you ever met a person who gets on one particular path in life and they refuse to change direction? Even if something better comes along, right? Somewhere, sometime, he or she still can't make the change because they've made such a firm commitment to do it one way and only one way. Know anybody like that? Yeah. Recently, I've come to realize that I'm one of those people. But I've also realized that there are many possible side trips that come along in life that bring with them some wonderful opportunities. Opportunities for some great things to happen. I would even venture to say that some of the greatest things that ever happened to us, if not all the great things that ever happened to us, have been on the side trips. You know what I'm talking about? You're on your way to one place and something unexpected happens, and before you know it, you're on a different path altogether. A path that takes you on a detour from your original destination. And it's a huge shock because you had a certain place you wanted to go, right? And you were so sure of it. But then you find out that it wasn't the original trip you were on that was important. It was just leading you to someplace else. Something different, something better, a higher way. This morning, I want to share a story with you from the Bible. This is the story of a man who began one journey only to discover the journey within the journey. Just as I've been discovering over the last 3 weeks of my life. And I promise I am going to tell you more about that story in a few minutes. But first I want to start with the man in the Bible. His name is Saul. And the story comes from the Old Testament in the first book of Samuel, chapters 9 and 10. Anybody remember who Saul is from my Bible classes? He was the first king of Israel. We have the patriarchs, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and Joseph was a big guy as well, and Moses, of course. And then we have a whole slew of judges and prophets, but then came the time of the kings. And Saul was the first king. Most of us are more familiar with King David, the beloved, and King Solomon, but Saul was the first. And this is how his story begins. There was a man of Benjamin, whose name was Kish, son of Abiel, a Benjamite, a man of wealth. Now there were 12 tribes, and they were named after Jacob's 12 sons. And one of those tribes is the Benjamin tribe, okay? So that's what they're talking about here. And there's this guy named Kish, and he has a son whose name was Saul, a handsome young man. There was not a man among the people of Israel more handsome than Saul. You don't always hear that about him, do you? That's not what we focus on, because Saul unraveled later in his life, but I'm not telling you that story today. So here's this gorgeous guy. Nobody more handsome than him in all of Israel. He stood head and shoulders above everyone else. Now the donkeys of Kish, this is Saul's father, had strayed. They'd gone missing. So Kish said to his son Saul, take one of the boys with you and go look for the donkeys. Now this is the start of the first journey, folks. This is the start of Saul's journey. He's going on a journey with a mission, with a goal, with a destination. What's he supposed to do? Retrieve the donkeys. He's got to find them and retrieve them. So Saul and the boy is one of the servants of this particular family, passed through the hill country of Ephraim, and they passed through many other lands, including the land of Benjamin. But they did not find the donkeys. When they came to the land of it's called Zuph. I wish Jerry Krieger was here. He'd tell me how to pronounce that. Sup? Saul said to the boy who was with him, let us turn back, or my father will stop worrying about the donkeys and worry about us, because they had been gone several days. But the boy said, you know, you ever been on a journey, even when you have a commitment and you have a goal, and you just want to give up sometimes and turn back? Just not working out? But the boy says to Saul, there's a man of God in this town. He's a man held in honor. Let us go there now. Perhaps he will tell us about the journey on which we have set out. So maybe this guy will give us some direction how to find the donkeys. They're still thinking very much on a human level. And then Saul replies to the boy, but if we go, what can we bring the man? For the bread in our sacks is gone, and there's no present to bring to this man of God. What do we have? And the boy answered Saul again, here, I have with me a quarter of shekel of silver. I will give it to the man of God to tell us our way. So Saul says to the boy, good, come, let us go. So they went to the town where the man of God was. Now, do you see here that they were willing to pay a price to reach their intended goal? You know, there's a price to every journey in life, and I'm not just talking about money. It's about the willingness to pay the spiritual price in consciousness. People in my meditation practice should know what I'm talking about right here, right? Am I willing to pay the price to do whatever needs to be done to live a better life? A life more in alignment with my God self. Am I willing to do it? So as they went up the hill to the town, they met some girls coming out to draw water and said to them, is the man of God here? And they answered, yes, there he is just ahead of you. Hurry, he has come just now to the town because the people have a sacrifice today at the shrine. And as soon as you enter the town, you'll find him before he goes up to the shrine to eat. For the people will not eat until he comes, since he must bless the sacrifice. Afterward, those will eat who are invited. Now go up, for you will meet him immediately. So they went up to the town, and as they were entering the town, they saw Samuel. That's the name of the man of God, Samuel. Samuel, by the way, was the last great prophet, and he was the last great judge before the time of the kings in Israel. So they saw Samuel coming out toward them on the way to the shrine. And now the day before Saul came, get this, got to set the scene, the Lord had revealed to Samuel, tomorrow about this time, I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin, and you shall anoint him to be ruler over my people Israel. He shall save my people from the hand of the Philistines, for I have seen the suffering of my people, because their outcry has come to me. So when Samuel saw Saul, the Lord told him, here is the man of whom I spoke to you. He it is who shall rule over the people. Then Saul thinks he's coming to Samuel to find his donkeys. Starting to get a sense of the journey within the journey. You think you're on a certain track, you don't even have a clue sometimes where you're going to end up. Then Saul approached Samuel inside the gate and said, "Tell me, please, where is the house of the man of God?" So he's asking Samuel, who is the man of God? Where is the house of the man of God? Samuel answered Saul, "I am the man you seek. Go up before me to the shrine." By the way, whenever you see that kind of imagery go up in the Bible, what is that talking about? Go up in consciousness. Go up in consciousness. Metaphysically, this means going up in spiritual awareness and awakening and consciousness. So Samuel tells Saul, "Go up before me to the shrine, for today you shall eat with me. And in the morning I will let you go, and I will tell you all that is on your mind." Samuel's so cool. Because he even reassures Saul. He says, "And as for your donkeys, they were lost 3 days ago. Give no further thought to them, for they have been found. and on whom is all Israel's desire fixed, if not on you and on your ancestral home." So he's starting to try to indicate to Saul, you're here for a much larger reason than finding your donkeys. Now let's imagine at this point if Saul had said, "Oh no, most honorable man of God, I can't go to the temple and eat with you. I have to be sure that those donkeys make it back home to my dad." You see, I have my mind fixed on that. I'm in a pre-programmed mode. Even though you appear to be giving me my higher good right now, I just can't accept it. Because I have my original goal and direction. Can you relate to that? It's like a horse with blinders on. I can't look anywhere but in a straight line. I can't look at those side trips, those side roads. Even though I might see a better way to live my life, if I did. I'm stuck in my human will, and I'm going to continue on following my own agenda. Can you imagine if Saul had said that? Have any of you ever been there? You ever said that? Yeah, I got my vision. I got my mission. This is my purpose. Don't tell me a better way. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I only can relate to Saul in this story. But Saul answered, here comes the unworthiness part. Maybe this is what you can resonate with. Maybe this is what you can relate to. Saul answered, "I'm only a Benjaminite, from the least of the tribes of Israel, and my family is the humblest of all the families of the tribe of Benjamin. Why then have you spoken to me in this way?" Have you ever been offered the higher way, but you don't feel worthy of it? Then Samuel took Saul and his servant boy and brought them into the hall and gave them a place at the head of those who had been invited, of whom there were about 30. And Samuel said to the cook, "Bring the portion I gave you, the one I asked you to put aside." The cook took up the thigh and what went with it and set them before Saul. And Samuel said, "See, what was kept is set before you. Eat, for it is set before you at the appointed time so that you might eat with the guests." So Saul ate with Samuel that day. And when they came down from the shrine into the town, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at my mom. And you know, she's a big part of this story, and I'm getting to it. She's struggling to put her coat on. So when they came down from the shrine into the town, a bed was spread for Saul on the roof, and he lay down to sleep. Then at the break of dawn, Samuel called to Saul upon the roof, "Get up, so that I may send you on your way." And Saul got up, and both he and Samuel went out into the street. Now remember, I told you earlier that Saul was the first king of Israel. So what is that? What does Saul metaphysically represent? Metaphysically, Saul means the action of the will in attaining what it desires. What did he desire on the first leg of the journey? The donkey.